but he talks about long distance versus short distance. Hassan, make sure I do it right. I used to think that I wanted to be a long distance, a long distance, right? A long distance runner, Hassan.
Yeah.
But he goes, let me tell you, bro, circadian rhythm, daytime, nighttime. Tennis players, they have a hard match when they go back to their. You notice they're always playing with the strings, right? That's how they unwind. Bursts of energy, then relax. Bursts of energy, relax. He goes, look at the long distance runners; they look like skeletons.
Man.
Look at the short distance runners; they look like they're real big. I want to know, what's your opinion?
I think, it depends. Like, there's actually a pretty deep study on like what kind of body type it takes to become like what kind of athlete. So for instance, like you wonder why there's so many great basketball players that are like tall, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like 6'5", 6'7". It's like there's studies. I was like, oh man, this guy's naturally gifted. It's like, no, those people actually like they funnel into those things just because of the way they are.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of weird. It's a really weird study, but yeah.
Well, he was saying that in the circadian rhythm of life, we have to have downtime to recharge. And that's why the big runners are like, they put so much massive effort into that short burst, then they're down. So their muscles are just being so much resistance. Do you think one should have any short term versus long term? Is there a different philosophy for you?
There's different muscle groups that work for like sprinters, and then
we're talking about philosophy here. I got you. I'm using the analogy. I'm using the running analogy, but I'm saying in business. Like,
in business, right? It still goes. So like, let's say if you're a long distance runner or a sprinter, you still need to have both muscles working, whether it's the sprinting muscle or the long distance muscle. You need to be able to fire them when they need to be fired, right? There's going to be times in business when you're going to have to sprint, and there's going to be times when you're going to have to hold on.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So you got to think sprint, but at the same time, you got to think long distance.
God. Right. It's rough being an entrepreneur. Round up family. Greetings, class. Greetings. This is Chris Haskins. My mission and ministry is to raise your financial literacy through real estate investing and entrepreneurship. Doing that, I get to hang out with some unbelievable people. And this gentleman I met last year at the Valuetainment Vault conference, Hassan, I don't want to say it wrong, Ilyas.
That's awesome. That's better than I would say 90% of people.
How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. Hey, Chris, I want to say thank you. Number one, if you want to get good at anything, you got to be able to follow up. Chris asked me to do this months ago. I think I said no, and then he asked me again, and I said, oh, like maybe another time. And then he asked me a third time, and I was like, oh yeah, it's good timing, right? You never know. They say usually it takes 8 follow-ups to get that sale, right? He got it in 3, so he's doing something right. But hey, Chris, I appreciate you letting me be on your show today. Though I don't know you as well as I can know you, I will say there's so far from what I know, super genuine guy. There's some people that are trying to sell you something, or there's something hiding behind there. I don't see that with you, man. Super chill. So I gravitate towards that. So I'm happy to be here.
I appreciate that, Hassan. And it's Hassan Roundup, so it's not Hassan.
Yeah,
Hassan.
Yeah, it's Hassan, but if you put HASSUN, then you get it like Hassan.
We're gonna get it right. When I met you, you were doing something. Let's just rewind to the vault last year. You're in the front row, which you had the most expensive ticket in the building.
Yeah.
Which tells me something about you personally. What made you want to stay up in the front of the building to be close to Patrick, Matt, David, and the like?
Yeah, I will say access. So before, when I used to go to conferences, and by the way, if you guys aren't going to any live conferences or seminars, you guys are already missing out. If you were to compare me to some of my family members, they're like, Hassan, you're so weird. Like, why do you pay for this stuff where you can just find it on Google, right? Like, why don't you just look it up on YouTube? I was like, look, when you're there and when you're in the right emotional state and when you're with the right people, there's one word, like in conversation, there's one word that could piece together the rest of the puzzle of your life. One word. And you sit with the right people and you guys are talking the right language. You don't get that too many places, right? So I pay for that experience. Well worth it too. So like a lot of my money, like alhamdulillah, I've made a lot of money growing up. I'm 27 now. Majority of that money has gone back into investing in myself. And it's one thing, like if you guys want to go faster anywhere, just put the money back in yourself. Learn more. experience more. Go pay for the higher tickets instead of the $200 tickets in the back. But yeah, the conference was awesome. By the way, I've been following Patrick's content now for, man, I want to say maybe you beat me here. But I've been following it now since 2014. I want to say 2015, maybe 2015. So what about you?
I got on Valuetainment July 2017, and my career just blew up.
I love it.
It just blew up, man. And that's why I got a chance to meet him, man. I just hanging out with him. Just, you know how it is.
Like hanging out with the interview, man. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
What'd you say?
I watched the interview as well with him. I was stoked that you got to interview him. And it's fun when you watch how people answer things. It's just like, the way he was answering your questions, like you can see he's deep in thought, man. He's not looking, he's just kind of like in this whole different world. I was like, oh, okay.
I'm telling you, he's intimidating to hang around, bro.
And if you ask the wrong questions, he's like, hey, you got to ask questions like this.
It means sense.
So it was good. It was good learning. Good learning. For sure.
Hassan, I'm going to one day do a video about how I got prepared. I took 40 hours to prepare for that interview.
Seriously.
Because when we,
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
When we had that dinner with him, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the dude asked him and said, "How do you get prepared to talk to your advisors?" Do you remember? I recorded that answer. Do you remember that?
I don't know if I was there. This was the last dinner. Is that correct? In the stratosphere thing?
Yeah, you didn't. You didn't come. I don't know.
No, I was there, but I think I was on another table.
Okay, yeah. The dude, he's like, I take 22 hours before I talk to my attorney. I'm like,
to the hour.
22 hours. He's like, I want.
How did you land that interview?
It took me over a year. Calling emails, going, doing, calling, get. Finally, Mario's like,
stop. Come on. What was the last take? Like, what was it where he said yes, or was he like, all right, dude, it's the 48th time. Like, okay, fine.
It wasn't even the time. It was more about they did research on me.
That's what I like.
Okay. They research. He's like, you know what, Chris? I noticed you got this. I noticed you've done this. I see this. I saw this. You came to the vault. This. Boom, boom, boom. He went down a whole list of things, and he said, "That's why we're doing this interview."
I like it.
He said, Patrick. He said, "I haven't done an interview in 7 months, Chris."
Wow.
I'm like, man, I'm just so humbled and honored to be in the value. I'm like, I'm here,
man. I was stoked for you just watching it, right? Like when you see, everyone knows how hard it is to get interviews, especially when it's a top dog. And you get the interview, it's nice feeling, man. It's a nice feeling. Now you're like, all right, who's next? Who's the next top dog I'm gonna get? You got the next one on the next one.
So Hassan, my rounduppers are all about entrepreneurship, and even more now that the the United States is going crazy. I want to talk about that a little bit with you too. Are you considered a minority entrepreneur?
I would say so. My parents moved here from Pakistan.
Mm-hmm. So the same as Patrick.
So he's from Iran.
Okay.
I'm from Pakistan. So Pakistan, India, China, we're kind of in that area. So gotcha. I'm actually Asia. But we would be considered minorities. I'm a first, I think I'm a first generation, I believe, since my parents moved here. Gotcha. So yeah, for sure.
So just for the background roundups, thanks for hanging out with us. We've been kind of going back and forth. Hassan was in a mobile car buying company that did 30 million last year, and he's decided to move away from that business. But for just frame up, Hassan, so people can understand the caliber of business you've done, kind of like who you are, 40,000 foot view of what you've been doing up to now, so they can kind of get the juice out of this conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. So in regards to the company I was with, the company's name is called Car Trackers, and I still am fond of the company, very fond with fond. They basically purchase cars all around the nation. And it's a mobile car buying service. So basically, if Chris is in Virginia and he wanted to sell his car, either call us. We had a full-blown call center. We had over about 20 agents. We had in staff, and we also had overseas as well. So you can get a real offer for your car in 2 minutes over the phone or online, right? We'd give you a soft offer. We'd go in person. We'd appraise a vehicle and give you a hard offer in person. If you like that offer, we would purchase the car on the spot. We'd pay you on the spot. We do a free vehicle pickup. We take care of all DMV paperwork, and you're good to go. So one thing I would always tell people, regardless if I'm in industry or not, anytime you want to purchase a vehicle, a lot of dealerships will say, hey, trade in your car here, trade in your car there, right? To trade in your car. It's always better to go cash in hand to any dealership you want, because if you're going to trade in the vehicle, you have to stick with that dealership, right? But if you sell your car for cash, you can take that cash and you can go negotiate with cash anywhere you want. So I highly recommend, and depending on your time frame of when you're trying to sell, it's always best to go cash in hand anywhere to purchase another vehicle.
Cash in hand. Thanks for that.
So we would purchase anywhere from, I think our highest week was over 100 vehicles, right? So if you compare that to other stores, we would have stores that would be very happy to, purchase anywhere from 20 to 30 cars. So we're purchasing inventory, and then we would actually sell wholesale at auction, right? So we would buy from the public, and then we would sell at auction. And one of the reasons our revenue was so high is because we were like hardcore flippers, right? A lot of people would flip 5, 10. We're flipping, 100 vehicles a week, right? You add it up, right? And let's say you make $1,000 profit before everything. It adds up, right? And there's sometimes, like, especially when a market can crash, you can get a lot of money tied up if you don't sell those vehicles. So we had some very, very scary times. We had some very, very fun, creative, intense, just mind-boggling times as well, right? Things I would never trade, like experience you can never trade for. Regardless of how crazy I was going to go, so much fun. But we did that, day in, day out. We started like mom and pop, like 4 or 5 people working, like literally my first job, right? And I know Chris is saying I'm an entrepreneur. I actually started as an intrapreneur. Right? In my blood, I've always wanted to do something, create something, build something. And I started actually picking up vehicles from them. I would pick up vehicles that they purchased, and I would drop them off at auctions. So the first car I bought was actually the first car I dropped off at an auction.
Stay here for a minute. My Rounduppers, intrapreneur. Can you just break it down for my Roundup family that may not understand?
Absolutely. So intrapreneur is someone who starts with a company and then actually grows with a company, and where you actually treat the company like it's your own, right? You treat the company as if it's your own company. You don't say, man, I'm making them this much money, I'm doing this. So it's like, I'm doing this, we're doing this together. It's we, right? You think about decisions as company decisions, right? So, and by the way, if you guys want to go somewhere fast, I talk about speed a lot. When you change it from they to we, us, and you take ownership for what you do, you'll get to a lot of places a lot faster.
You know, it's weird. Every entrepreneur or even intrapreneur or even successful person, very rarely do I hear them talk about they, or it's always we and us, what we do. Have you noticed that just for successful people in general?
And it's funny because like I've met people that made a lot of money. And then like, so I think of like, there's people that make a lot of money. And then I also think of like successful people. When I think of successful people, are the people that actually share, that actually speak the right language. Like when I meet people that actually are sharing something with me that I know can help grow, that's when I'm like, all right, it doesn't matter how much money this guy's made. Like this guy is actually successful. He knows. He knows.
So to tell real quick before we talk about your future, just tell us some of the moving parts. Good God, 100 cars. I've used to finance. I still do. I finance car dealers, right? I'll put the money up or whatever.
Okay, very cool.
These dudes are doing a few cars, and it's hell.
Yeah. I would say the industry is we're in a different part of the industry, right? So like when you go to retail, right, the majority of the dealers are actually trying to sell their new inventory, whatever inventory they have.
Yeah.
We only specialize in purchasing vehicles. So when it came to actually buying cars, we were number one. Like if you're familiar with Kelley Blue Book, have you heard of Kelley Blue Book before? We were actually the number one instant cash offer dealer in America. We would buy the most vehicles from Kelley Blue Book Instant Cash Offer. So if you guys don't know what Kelley Blue Book is, it's a good place to figure out how much your car's worth, whether it's like the private party value, meaning you're selling it to another person that wants to just purchase a car, or if you want to get the trade-in value, the retail value. They create another one called Instant Cash Offer, meaning this is how much your car is worth at a cash value right now, right? So we became, like, in the nation, the number one buyer of Kelley Blue Book Instant Cash Offers. That's a lot of vehicles. A lot of vehicles. And to put Kelley Blue Book behind that, it was a big deal. So even though we were small, like we still had a small operation, but we were doing some big things.
Well, I know we use NADA around here regarding the values on trading.
It's more, NADA is more like East Coast, Midwest. Mm-hmm. They also use another company called Black Book.
Okay.
Kelley Blue
that's for dealers, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But Kelley Blue Book is more for West Coast.
Gotcha. Well, it's still the same. It's the same barometer. You're gonna just test the value of it.
Yeah.
So you're out of that now. I want to know what made you say what. Not that I don't want to obviously probe too much in your mental decisions, but are you looking for more out of life? Was it just the time? And where are you going?
Yeah. There was a lot of things that came in to the decision. It's something that like for me to think I was gonna leave before 30, right? There's no way, right? I've been here for so long. Like if I was to show you my notes, right? Like my walls were scribbled with ideas everywhere. And if I can give you guys one tip, if you guys are looking to like blow your business up, start writing down ideas, right? Majority of them will fail. Majority of them will fail. But once you get the idea of being creative, thinking outside of the box, one's going to do good. Two might break even, but one is going to do well, and one will change the trajectory of your business.
Do you have a notepad, or how do you take these notes down?
Yeah, I want to see if I, I can let me, I'll show you like an example. So here's my, I basically write on the walls, right? So in my office, I would take sheets of paper, and my office had no windows, right? No windows. It was a small little dungeon, and I would just put papers up, and I would scribble everywhere. And I would just like, as dumb as the idea sounded, I just let it flow. And then once I got it, I would just run with it. And I love doing that. Like when I said I was like literally in the business, like that's all I would think about. I would go home, I'd think about it. I would go train, I'd think about it. When I'd be eating, I'd be thinking about it. I would be texting, the owners, like, hey, look, what about this? And I did love it. It was very, very fun.
When I met you, you were submersed in that, and you were really cutting a lot of stuff out of your life at that time.
Yeah, I've always been trying to cut things out of my life. I'll tell you that.
Go ahead. I want my people to know when I met, you're not like a regular dude. You're not a regular dude. He may look like a regular dude, but I promise you, the discipline you have is just.
Yeah, and it's funny. Like the person who called me right before this, he always calls me like 11:30 at night, right? So purposely, I'd call him in the morning, and I text him this morning, and I said, "Look, anyone can stay up late, but a disciplined man is a man who could wake up when he needs to wake up, right? Like, there's a lot of people like, oh yeah, I stayed up working till 2. Dude, wake up at 4 a.m. and start working. Then we'll see if you're real deal. Discipline will take you far. They say like regret weighs tons compared to the weight of discipline, which weighs ounces, right? Mm-hmm. Discipline hurts a little bit, right? Regret 6 years from now hurts a lot, right?
So where did you get this stuff from, Hassan? How did you get so disciplined? Also, tell us some stuff that you cut out so people can say, I ain't cutting that out.
Partying, music. I told you this one too. If you remember, you say it before I say it.
Masturbation.
I'm telling you. So how I started my like entrepreneurial journey is before I got into the auto industry, right? I started out in network marketing. So if you're familiar with network marketing, maybe companies like Amway, Herbalife, that's a few examples. Like
I know it very well.
Yeah, Tupperware.
They really help you become a better person, in my opinion.
Exactly. So like when we talk about discipline, like one thing that really stood out for me that I wasn't like my brain, right? Like I know I'm 27 right now. I didn't understand a lot of stuff. I started reading books probably in sophomore year of high school. I'm reading this book and I'm like trying to figure out like how to become a better athlete and win state championships. And I'm like, what book talking about business? Right? Like what's going on? And then like I got into network marketing and I started reading more books and I was like, whoa, personal development. This is super, super cool. And I really started applying that, right? A lot of people, they get into network marketing or they get into personal development and they just read the books, but they don't actually develop, right? You have to educate. And then on that education, you have to execute. And when you execute, you evolve. Education, execution, evolution. So once you start taking action on that stuff, things change big time. So when it comes to discipline, I read a lot about Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, Darren Hardy. By the way, one of my favorite books, Dr. Wayne Dyer. I'm actually like, I know I'm like pretty crazy sometimes, but Your Erroneous Zones, really, really good book. I'm really calm too, very calm. Like I probably don't have any anger in my body. I do get angry. I have that emotion, but you never will probably get that out of me.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I came from books, the seminars, and that's when I started reading more. I realized like, look, I'm gonna pay more for this stuff, right? The first time I made 6 figures. Before I made 6 figures, I paid someone $5,000 for 8 hours just to learn. right?
Wow.
And I've never paid $5,000 for anything. I had a car. I think I was 22, 23 at that time. And like I said, I built from like, when I was in the company, I was like from the lowest level to the highest level, right? And I was full sales, full commission guy. And the story of being in the company, like in college, I went to school in Missouri, right? So huge fan of the Midwest. If anyone's watching from the Midwest is one of my favorite parts of the country. Okay. It really taught me hard work, hospitality, some of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. Seriously. And for them, it was the first time seeing someone like this. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, Saddam Hussein's here. I was like, no, my name's Hassan. And you know, my first time on campus, they're like, wow, you speak great English, man. And I was like, yeah, man, I was born here. Like, but you know, in Missouri, you don't see people like this, right? If you do, they're foreign exchange students from other countries.
Gotcha.
I had a great opportunity there to teach people like that I was human and I was normal. But that being said, I started another branch of the company in Missouri out of our house. So I got 2 other athletes that were also entrepreneurs. We built our garage out into an office, and we were making good money in college. So that
doing
money,
the car, doing the car stuff or something else?
Yeah, doing the car. So we started a satellite office in Missouri, and I remember I would have, like, everyone thought I was balling out because I would have all these cars that would need to get picked up that I'd purchase. Like, I'd drive to Gastonia, North Carolina. I'd go to Oklahoma. I'd go to Wisconsin. I'd go to Chicago, and I'd drive these cars back to my house. Like, man, look at Hassan. He has all these cars. I was like, no, it's like, you know, we had the office going out in Missouri. I totally forgot what you asked me.
I want to know about, we were moving from how you learned to be so disciplined. And then we were going to how the business was running and how you're moving forward.
Gotcha.
So you're doing millions of dollars of transactions a year. Some people, I think in the people that you're, go ahead.
Yeah, I remember where I was at. We were talking about mentorship. So that the first I hustled for 2 weeks, paid $5,000 to make 6 figures.
There you go. Okay.
A lot of people wouldn't do that, right? They don't understand like investment, like investing into a mentor's asset. Like when I went through your channel, I was like, this guy is showing, you know, coaching. He's also showing mentorship as well. When you can humble yourself to a mentor, you're gonna grow a lot faster, right? You gotta be a student of the game, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So when it came to the decision, right? So I was an athlete, right? I still am. I run for Pakistan. So I have dual citizenship. My parents were born there. So our whole family actually has dual citizenship from America and Pakistan. So like I told you.
Do business there too?
Say it again?
Do you do business there too, Hassan?
I can't say it on the air.
Oh, okay.
I'm joking. Yeah, we're starting a few things in the next few months, which is very, very exciting. So one of my goals is actually, Pakistan's a third world country, and we want to put money back into Pakistan, right? They just got a new prime minister, and like it's one of the most corrupt political countries ever. But the new prime minister, Imran Khan, he's actually changing a lot of things, and he actually wants overseas Pakistanis, which is someone like me, to put money back into the country to help it thrive again. So we've been trying to figure out ways on how we can put money back in the system over there. So I'm very, very excited for that. But as I told you, like I always used to draw, right? So I didn't only draw stuff for the company. I used to draw stuff for my personal life, right? A lot of people, they design the dream vacation, but they never design the dream life, right? And I think one of the biggest tipping points for me was I had my exit plan already, right? I had it, but what ended up happening was I started looking at it every day. Like every day. And I used to see it, and it used to make me physically sick. And I was like, man, what are you still doing here? And though I love everyone that still works at Car Trackers, at the mobile car buying service, I realized I was getting to the point where I could have started to have jealousy or hatred towards decisions that weren't going my way, right? So I went from intrapreneur, and I really started feeling like, hey, look, I want things done my way. Even though we worked as a team, right? We worked as a team to make decisions. I saw times where when a decision wouldn't go my way, I would get very upset. And I was like,
what is my way? Is that the right way or the more money-making way? I'm trying to figure out.
So my way in my head is a smarter way, the right way. When I say the right way, I'm not saying their decisions were the wrong way. Mine were just the righter way, right?
Well, do they both? Does one decision make more money?
No, one decision.
Because a decision can set you up for another. But
yeah, so that decision, the right decision, actually, in my head, it honors people more. And if you honor people more,
make more money.
right?
Way better.
You can make the right decision, right? The money making decision. But if it kills your people, like,
Yeah,
what are you doing, right?
you're right. You can't do
So for me, like, one thing I do outside of running is I'm Muslim, and I'm actually memorizing the Quran. So I don't know if you've ever read the Quran before.
I have not.
Okay, it's 30 chapters, right? 20 pages each chapter.
Yeah.
And I'm almost done. Alhamdulillah, almost done.
Memorizing the Quran.
Memorizing it, yeah, word for word.
God.
Have you ever heard it before?
I've delved a little bit into it. It's got some unbelievable content. I just have not read it thoroughly like that.
You should. It's good. But what I will say is, like, the more I got into religion, right? Like, the more I started, in my head, I think of things like black and white. I think of like good and bad. I think of like very ethical. I want to do the right thing. I want to honor people as much as I can, right? So I started feeling like, look, this is my company, and it wasn't my company, right? And I want to do things my way. And though I never had a financial investment in the company, I realized that, like, it's time for me to start making my own decisions. And I got to the point where I was like, people, but it's not going to be healthy long term.
Gotcha.
Right. Gotcha. And it was a hard decision to make, a very, very hard decision to make. And if you guys ever make hard decisions, I highly recommend make sure there's food in your belly, you've slept, right? You have some sunlight, because when it comes time to make those decisions, you don't want to make a decision off emotion, right? If you're not feeling good, right? If you don't have enough sleep, if you haven't ate enough, when you go to the grocery store and you haven't ate lunch and you come back and you're like, what did I just buy? It's because you're hungry. Mm-hmm. Go there satiated already, right? Go there fed, and you'll get the things you're supposed to get. So, I took a long time to really think about it. Something, when you put a decade into something, you're like, dude, it's almost your identity, right?
That's what I'm.
And even when you left music, right? I think for you, leaving was different than when I left, right? I think, one thing I heard you saying was that you were about to record, and then, like, the person that was in there was like, I forgot who it was. It was like Jay-Z or something. You're like, dude, I can't do that. Like, these guys are just a whole nother level, right? It's different for everybody. But when you know, right? So I had a very difficult conversation. This was during Corona, like right when it peaked, and meet with them in person. So I had a FaceTime call with everyone, and you always want to leave on the best terms as possible. You never want to burn a bridge. It doesn't matter what has happened. You never want to burn a bridge. It's always better to value that relationship long term than just be like, yo, I'm done. So though I tried leaving the best way as possible, it's going to take some time still to keep going. But I still love everyone there. But so many memories there. So many memories.
So I'm just thinking about, once again, you're doing some big numbers over here, being an intrapreneur. And round up, we've got Hassan Ilyas with us today. Get a question if you want to ask him. He's an entrepreneur/intrapreneur. This guy's doing $30 million a year in car buying. I guess car sales too, right?
Yeah.
I want to figure out, this is a whole new stage for you. What's on your mind now? No, let me rewind. I recreated myself in 2017. I didn't get a chance. I asked Pat this question too, but he went off so far on a tangent that I couldn't even bring him back.
Before you answer it, why did you want to recreate yourself? Like, what was it? Where were you at?
I'm looking for just more. I want to grow. I want to be better. I always tell people, look, I'm not perfect. I want to be better and do better.
Yeah. Where were you at that time? Like, were you like kind of in your life where you were like, I'm just kind of sick of where I'm at and like it's time for change, or were you like, it's time to level up?
Level up.
Okay.
I love real estate, but my personal friends know that real estate is just another business. Another business. But I'm hard, diehard on the camera. When you make my channel, right? You have no idea, because I want to get that message across to people that they can do it. Yeah. But for you, I'm like, oh, go ahead.
Oh, you're good. I was gonna say, like, the message of you can do it. Think if you had that message when you were younger. I don't know if you had it, but you have kids, right? You have 2 kids, is that right?
I just had a third last month. Yeah.
Wow. What's that been like?
Rough, bro.
You get a different answer from everyone, man. It's like, oh, my heart changed. Like, dude, get me out of here, bro. But if you get that positive, like if you get that love and you're like, hey, you can do it. If you had that for 30 years, 40 years, think about what kind of confidence you would have, like going into things that you've never done before. It's like, hey, you know what? My dad, Mr. Haskins, he got me right up here first. And when you're right up here, sky's the limit, man.
So are you thinking you're going to be recreating yourself, Hassan, or you're going to kind of stay in the industry, or what are you thinking? What's the future for you look like?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things. I think I've had this huge. I've always been a vision guy. Always, like I've always thought of like things that are just like big. For me, I don't know why, but I always liked to do big things, and I've always thought that way.
You've been in the company, you're doing numbers that some people would never do in their entire life.
Absolutely, absolutely.
At 26, I mean, I cannot believe I'm 20 years older than you, dude.
Are you really?
Yeah, I'm 44.
Oh man. Hey, well, you're looking good for 44. Actually, 44 is pretty young. Actually, what am I saying?
I'm old, bro.
You're young, man. If you're still able to pick strawberries with your kids, you're young, man.
So I made a bunch of money when I was like 20 years ago, right? A bunch of money, lost it all. But you've been able to, as Jim Rohn says, you make $1 million, best you become a millionaire.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'll tell you this: I didn't become a millionaire. I spent it all.
You did? Okay, so you've been down that road.
I've always put the money back in myself, right? So if the average person was to see how I leverage my finances for me, they'd be like, oh, this guy is actually kind of crazy, right? If the person like 20 years from now said like, yo, Hassan, what did you do? And I said, look, I did X, Y, and Z, and it went here, here, and here, and now I can do X, Y, and Z in here. They'd be like, wow, I wish I would have done that too. So majority of my money has gone into reading seminars, and then taking action on those ideas. Like when you realize like failing fast gets you closer to success, you enjoy failing. Right. I had one of the craziest ideas in regards to lead generation with the company. And I literally thought that I was going to make it rich. Like literally I was like going crazy. My valuetainment notebook, right? It was filled with numbers, like every single page. And I was going crazy. Like I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat. And I like fell in love with this idea, like absolutely fell in love with it. And I thought like this was a make or break. And it was probably one of the hardest crushes. I hired a full team for it. It completely failed. I had to pay out of my pocket for it. It was bad, right? And I realized that day, I was like, dude, like having great ideas is great, but just don't fall in love too fast, right? Just keep going. You'll have the good ones, you'll have the bad ones. But I really thought that was going to change my life.
Let's stay here for a minute. I hear, what people reach out to me. I get emails from people every day, chats, whatever, private messages. They got an idea about something. I almost don't even like to hear no ideas unless someone has some type of a bullet point or plan after it. Tell me about your thoughts on that.
No, I agree. Like some people say when I speak, they're like, oh, Hassan's like, man, he's so motivational, right? It's like, dude, number one, I don't want to be the motivational guy, because when you're motivated, you really don't do anything. Like I'd rather when someone comes with an idea or something, or they got something from me, they said, hey, Hassan, like I did this because I learned this or whatever, or like I put this plan together. Like, there's so many people that said, hey, I tried this, I tried doing this. I was like, oh, well, show me what you did. Well, actually, I didn't do anything. I just thought about it in my head.
Thought about it, yeah.
Like put the plan together, execute it, fail as fast as you can. But when you fail, go as hard as you can, right? A lot of people, they're tippy-toeing in a lot, especially in their jobs, right? And even for real estate, right? I don't know like the nooks and crannies of your business, but I know you do wholesale. Is that right?
I can, yeah, well, I do, yeah. Yep.
What's like the money maker for you? What's like the number one thing you do? Or the one thing you teach to others to do?
Yeah, shoot, man. Hassan, I wish I could. I mean, I don't know, dude. I'm a long-term hold guy, a landlord.
So what about is the number one thing for them to get into real estate or realize that
buy a house without going to the bank and begging for a loan? That's my number one thing.
Right. So like, let's say someone came to you and they're like, man, I tried everything, right? And you're like, yo, show me what you did. Like, nothing, bro. You're like, dude, just go, please.
I don't have time for that yet. I don't have any time for that.
A lot. There's like this culture of like, I heard Patrick say this. He said like the most like depressed people in life are the people that have like really big goals and ideas and they have very little work ethic, right? There's no work ethic behind it. Like if you could get one thing out of this is if you guys just start working hard towards something, and if you fail, it's okay, but you're going to learn from the work, right? And you keep doing it. And, there's a story of a guy who's going for gold. And then he's like, forget this. I'm not doing this anymore. And the next guy comes with a pickaxe, boom, strikes gold the first time.
Acres of diamonds, yeah.
So close. Just keep going, man. Don't give up.
Well, the reason I wanted you on here, Hassan, not only, I don't want Dan Kennedy says real estate investors and most businessmen commit business incest by just learning from the people in that business. So most of my followers and viewers are real estate guys, but I still want them to look at real estate. And it took me a long time to realize that real estate is just another business. That's all. It's just another product. But it
Yeah.
just happens that you just live in it.
Yeah.
So your focus on cars, you're putting this together now. Are you gonna? I heard you. I saw your email saying something. You're going to be focusing more on internet marketing now.
Yeah. So what I did for the company is I created systems. I was heavily involved in marketing for the company. Any new creative ideas, any new workforce problems that we could solve, training, hiring, firing. I did a lot of different things, but I tried creating systems around it, right? So like, I enjoyed being creative when it came to marketing, right? So a lot of people are going heavy on, when it comes to real estate. I don't know. Do you guys look for clients?
Yeah, gotta have number one thing in any business is lead generation.
Lead generation, right? Like a lot of people, they're so heavy on, and it's not the wrong thing, but they're super heavy on Facebook advertising, Instagram ads.
We are.
PPC, right? But they also forget that there's so many ways to market. There's so many ways to get attention, right? I mess with Gary Vaynerchuk a lot.
Oh yeah.
Right? A bunch of great content. I went to it was called Agent 2021, right? So he was doing this seminar for real estate, auto industry, and life. And I think it was it brokers? I forgot the third one. But he was doing it because these people don't know how to market, right? And he had given one of this real estate agent advice, and they're like, well, what do I do? Like, I want to market and get to be known more. And Gary said, hey, why don't you become the mayor of your city? He's like, oh, we already have a mayor. He's like, no. Go and meet every single person in that city, right? They should know you by a first name basis, right? And you should know them by a first name basis. And that's literally what him and his wife did. And he came back to this conference, right? It was the second year they were doing it. Gets a mic and he's like, honestly, like we had to our business, our whole life changed, right? Like people were just coming to us because they knew like we cared, right? And literally they had so many deals that they couldn't handle it. Like we had to actually stop because it was too much. Now we figured out a way to scale it out. But there's the reason I'm saying that is because there's so many ways to get leads. Like think about your own city. Does everyone know who Chris Haskins is?
A lot of people do. I'm telling you, I went today. I'm not saying that I'm right or wrong, but generally speaking, whenever I go somewhere, because they recognize the brand.
Yeah. And so like here's the thing, like it's one thing of who you know, but it's more important of who knows you.
Who knows you?
Right? Like if they think, well, Chris Haskins, like, oh, the guy who wears the I Buy Houses shirt, yeah, that dude. Hey, hit him up. Hey, I think it's time, right? Like there's so many ways to get creative with it. Like whether it's email marketing, whether it's, people say direct mail is dead. Direct mail is dead if you don't know how to do it right.
We use it still. It's not as popping as I would say it has gone down, but it still works.
We've done some crazy numbers with direct mail. Some crazy. It just, and whenever you're doing direct mail, like, especially like, you got to work with the reliable company, and majority of those leads, you don't even know where they're coming from. But if you get a good break on the leads, and if you have a solid company that's mailing them out, that you guys do good business together, it can make sense, right? Like, if we pay, I remember one time it was like $1,000 per lead, right? But that lead, that call that came in, if we converted that call, 10x, like not 10x, we could make $10,000 on a $1,000 lead.
Mm-hmm.
$9,000 profit, right? So if you do it right, you gotta think. There's so many different ways to do it.
So when you say internet marketing, are you staying in the automotive field, or you're doing affiliate marketing, or where are you?
Yeah, so I think it's going to depend. So right now, like when I say I'm starting from scratch, I'm literally starting from scratch.
I am enamored with that concept and the idea of you doing that.
Yeah, and I'll say this, like we have a 20-year gap, right? Like you're blessed. You have 3 kids. You're married. For you to do something like to start from scratch.
Yeah,
I got no. I'm a free bird right now. I don't think for long.
Obligations.
But like, look, we have COVID going on. We have Corona. We have some of the craziest things happening in 2020. I realize like this is my moment. Like I'm not going to get a chance to do this again. I'm not going to have a chance to have a pause on my life again. Like in order to memorize the Quran, right? Like you have no idea
I do a little bit. I mean, the book is.
Yeah, it's Arabic number one, right? You read right to left, right? And it's not like you need to know word for word, right? So like I wasn't gonna get that pause again. Like I was doing this, like I would wake up in the morning, work 10 hours, then I would go work out, and then I would go to class and recite to my teacher, right? And I would do that every single day, right? And I was like, if like this is a time to take advantage, like it was like either a now or never kind of thing for me.
Gotcha.
So now I've actually been, it was great timing for you because this is the only time where maybe I had time to do an interview. But majority of my time I'm going full time memorizing right now, and from there I'm gonna start looking for a girl, man. I'm gonna settle down.
Yeah, you weren't dating when I met you. You were like,
yeah. So like I read the book. Why is it skipping my head? It's from Napoleon Hill. It's his famous book.
Which one? Oh, Think and Grow Rich?
Think and Grow Rich, right? They talk about sexual transmutation.
Yep.
Right? Some weird stuff, right? But seriously, like when you understand it, when you realize like you have different energies in your body and you use it, like they say like sexual energy is like one of the highest, I don't know, fields of energy you have. When you use that in the right way, like I think for a long time, but like as Muslims, we don't really date. We usually like when we go to the grocery store, we only put things in our bag that we're going to buy, right? We're not there just to like put stuff in and then not pay for it. Like when we go in, we're looking for marriage. So for me, like, I think it's time. So like, I want to finish this. One of my goals was to finish the Quran and then go get married. But in between that time, it's going to take some time to get married. By the way, for any of your viewers that are watching, if they're single right now, a lot of people have a list of what they want in a spouse, right? Like they want the girl to be this tall, or they want the husband to be like this funny, whatever it is, right? That's good, but you should make another list to become the person that would
become the person. I knew you were going to say that.
It changes the game. It changes the game. You see a lot of like foreigners or a lot of like Pakistani guys like, oh man, I want her to be able to cook and like I want her to be beautiful and models. Like, dude, what about you, dog? Like,
you a $1 bill going for $100.
Yeah. So yeah, work on that. But when it comes to internet marketing, Chris, I couldn't even tell you, like, I know Patrick always talks about specializing, right? Specializing. There's so many ways to make money now. It's unbelievable, right? Like you talked about affiliate marketing. There's a lot of companies that are running ads for other companies, right? That they just specialize. They're charging a retainer of $3,500 a month, and they're just running all their ads, doing all the creative for them. Some of them are just brand building for them. Some of them are doing their paid advertising. There's people that create funnels to sell products. Like I remember there was a company a few months ago that sold over $1 million in recliners. Recliners? Mm-hmm. I don't know. There's so many different things. I've always loved sales growing up. Like it's been my thing. So I wanted to put myself in a situation where I need to learn how to sell from scratch again.
How about content? Are you going to produce content?
So I have a brand outside this. It's called Growth University. There's one post on Instagram right now. If you went to like our Facebook page, I used to shoot a video every single day for like, I don't know, I did like 100 videos straight, and I was going solid. But like the way I used to live my life was if I had a break somewhere, if I had a break with work, or if I had a break with track, or if I had a break with memorizing, I would put more effort into that other area. So I was Growth University. It's basically we teach you what's not taught in schools. And one of the reasons we came up with that, and you know what's funny, the name was supposed to be before Growth University. Like I went from 100 names to 3 names. The name that was supposed to be before Growth University was Why You're Still Broke. Okay. And I'm so happy I didn't go with that. Like looking back now,
me too.
I'm so happy. But I want to create content for them, basically to teach people how to think better. And if we can think better, we can become better, right? We're talking about 2020. What's going on right now with George Floyd? There's a lot of people that aren't thinking right? There's a lot of people in power positions that they need to go through some testing before they work with people, right? So if I can start serving the youth, so like I'm part of the youth committee here in Orange County for the mosque. I just want to help the youth get better, because I know when I was younger, what you see now, not even close. I was an animal, man. I had the wrong group of friends. Like if I stayed with them, I don't think I'd be where I'm at today, right? Mm-hmm. Like I grew up in a white suburb, Fountain Valley, California. Our our slogan is a nice place to live, right? And I had some of the craziest friends. I did a post on Instagram today saying, like, when it comes to riots and the protesting, like when you get into the mob mentality or group think, sometimes like when you get riled up enough, you'll do something you've never done before, right? When I was younger, all we used to do is every weekend we'd go get in fights with people.
Wow.
And you look at me, man, and I'm telling you, I don't have like an angry bone in my body anymore. Like when I was with my boys, my mind was different. I thought I was invincible, right? And we're seeing some things where, you know, we see looting, we see rioting, you know, some people, they want to go peacefully protest. I know I'm going on a tangent here, but like when you get caught in the crossfire, right? So like, let's say you're going to go peacefully protest, and then you have rioters there that are egging on the police start retaliating, and then you're there peacefully protesting and you're caught in the middle. It's just all bad. You know, when they say it's like the wrong place at the wrong time, happens. So you got to be careful. I said, like, you know, if you guys want to go protest, know who you're protesting with. If you're going to go in this large group, and if any moment you have a feeling where you're like, this doesn't feel right, get out, man. Because if you get stuck, you might die. Seriously.
Hassan, Chuck T, I don't know where he's coming from. He wants to know, why is it important to fail as fast as you can? Well, I want you to stay here for a little bit, because a lot of my coaching clients, they're just, and even Pat was saying, I'm telling you, they're just scared to fail, man. And I'm looking for ways to fail.
Yeah. So here's the thing. What was his name?
This is Chuck T.
Chuck T. Thanks for the question. I'll say this. For me, and for a lot of people, when you don't know what failure is, you have to really define failure for yourself, right? Failure for me is different than Chris, right? So for me, failure, right? This is for me. Everyone's different. What is really, when Hassan fails, what is it really like? Well, he still lives in California, okay? He can move back into his parents' house.
Big difference.
He still has clothes, right? He still has books, right? He still has food, right? It's not like when people fail, when you think about failure, when people used to fail back then, some people had to move back to their countries, right? When you fail in America, it's not really failure, right? And when that clicked for me, when I realized, like, hey, what's the worst that can really happen? Because when we think about failure, it's usually made up in our head. Like whatever we think it's going to happen, it's not actually as bad as it actually is.
Stay there for a minute, Hassan. You're talking about, I think you went into the framework of somebody moving from Pakistan to America failing, having to go back. Is that where you went?
Yeah, like let's say you
fail,
right? And you completely run out of money. You got to go back. Like you might get deported, right? There's a reason why people are like itching and scratching to come to the US. There's so much opportunity here. So that being said, like when you fail here, it's not really failure. You just found out a way not to do it. That's it, right?
Gotcha.
Even my big idea that I thought was going to change the world, I just realized, hey, it's not going to work out that way, right? And once you realize that, then keep trying. It's like,
gotcha.
It doesn't cost anything to try. And sometimes actually it is going to cost, and you have to be a little bit more smart, more strategic. But it's not really failure, man. Like a lot of
fail. Is it okay to fail?
Absolutely. One of the reasons people don't like to fail, especially today, and especially with our social media culture, is they're going to get made fun of. And the opinions of other people of, man, Hassan failed. He's such a loser. I can't believe it. LOL. Like, it doesn't matter. These guys aren't paying your bills, right? If people could pay my bills with their opinions, I would take opinions all day. Seriously, and I need it right now. But like, it doesn't really matter. Like when you realize who your circle is, when you have the right people in your circle, like they would actually encourage you to like mess up. Like for some people need to get beat up. Some people need to figure out like what it's like to get punched in the face. Like for me, right? Like I'm a track and field athlete. I blew out both my knees, right? And when I blew out my first knee, I was hurdling. I tore my ACL, my meniscus. And the day I realized like, hey, I got to learn how to walk again, it's different. It's different, right? So like that failure though has got me, like a lot of people, like they've like some people, I've heard some crazy lives, right? You talk about like a prison inmate that goes and becomes successful, right? Him being in prison helped him get to where he's at today. Some people have failed so little that they're still where they're at. Like you're still where you're at, right? You need to move somewhere. So if you can't go up, go down, right? And then figure out a way to get back up. Or if you're up, like you need to figure, like you were saying, you try to figure out ways to fail now. Like just what's the worst that can happen?
What's not going to work? What's not going to work so I can figure it out?
Yeah.
I think just people are just nervous, Hassan. I think you're being a business person. You're like, you're going to fail, but you're so young. A lot of people are just older and they're like, man, I just don't want to do this. It's just,
Yeah.
it can be overwhelming from time to time.
And I agree. I had a conversation with my mother the other day. She got kind of heated. I always love messing with my parents. You guys still have your parents, man. I know more about that. Give me your questions, my man.
Oh, Jeff Thomas wants to know, do you have a tech background?
Yeah. So I did a lot of API work with the company, like basically connecting systems. Like if you guys started a mom and pop business, or if you guys have a business, if you guys can figure out time hacks, right? If you guys can figure out ways to automate things in your business and have more time focusing on what's going to make the most money, do it, right? I know Chris uses VAs, right?
Yeah.
One company I could recommend is Zapier or Zapier. It's ZAPIER.com. They basically connect everything. Like a lot of people, they're like, they need developers. You don't need a developer for this. You can take Google Sheets. Whenever you enter there, can go into a completely different system, and you set it up. It's very simple to do as well. And you can also call their support team. It'll save you a lot of money. So a subscription there, maybe 20 to 50 bucks a month, but it can save you 50 to, depending on like what you're actually automating. You'll see, man. You'll see things that like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
I'm wasting. Like if you're ever in the state like I shouldn't be doing this.
Oh yeah.
Either hire someone to do it overseas or automate it and then go focus on what you're supposed to focus on.
I think that comes with time though, brother, as you get back, because I'm like a real businessman knows that he can always print money, but he cannot print time. I cannot print time. So I'm like, never will you see me clean. I'm like, we can hire somebody to do this, washing the car or whatever.
Yeah. And and Jeff, like what Chris was saying is like there's a time and place for it. Like if you're new, you shouldn't be worrying about that. You need to go put the work in, right? You need to go.
That's true.
What you lack in skill, you got to make up in numbers, right? If you only talk to 10 people, talk to 200 people, right? Like you need to get so overwhelmed doing the right thing that you'll know like, okay, yeah, I really do need help. Some people are like, I need to have the right systems first and I do this. No, you need to have it super ugly. And then you're like, wow, now I need to, tweak it up a little bit.
All right, I have you here I had you for an hour, Hassan. We'll get you out of here. James wants to know, how many wives do you want? Do you get to have more than one wife? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a great question, James. I appreciate it. So as Muslims, you can actually have up to 4 wives, right?
What?
Do I think I'll be able to handle one? I don't know. I don't think so.
I'm having trouble with one.
Yeah, but the wisdom behind it, a lot of people, they think 2020 when the wisdom is further than 2020. Like the reason for that was when there was widows and when someone died in the family, or if they had people that were able to financially help other women, right? These people weren't just marrying them to have sex all the time, right? They were actually taking care of their families, right? So you can marry up to 4 women, but you have to treat them all the same, right? A lot of people don't understand that. They think like, oh, like this guy's what's it called, misogyny or something? I don't know what it's called. My uncle has 4 wives, man.
Holy cow! Look, I think some of Chris, they like that.
Yeah.
All right, final thought.
You wouldn't make it, bro.
What'd you say?
I said Chris wouldn't be able to handle it, man.
Round up. Thank you for hanging out with me and Hassan. This is a little different interview, but I want to make sure we're not committing business incest with only talking to real estate gurus and real estate investors. Hassan, for the new entrepreneur, you're intrapreneur. I would love to see you. Are you going to document your journey, leaving a multi-million-dollar company, going to build another one?
We're sitting in my studio right now.
Okay.
It's all going to be documented. So,
okay. That's what you're doing now?
This interview is not going to be documented, but it's going to be on YouTube to access later.
I know that. I'm talking about.
Yeah. But so I'm actually doing a book review series right now, doing a show a week of like what I learned and why I read the book.
What are you reading from a roundup, or share with you reading? What is it?
Yeah. So right now I actually just finished, and this is kind of like a more technical book, but it's called Seeking Wisdom.
Seeking Wisdom. From
Darwin to Munger.
Okay.
A lot of stuff. So Charlie Munger is basically a Warren Buffett's right-hand man. So it gives you, it's basically not hacks, but it's ways to think better, right? Ways to make better decisions, right? Ways to process data. Kind of an advanced book, but for you, Chris, I think it'd be good.
Okay. Well, for my roundupers, we're on the same level. Here's the thing. My daughters come home and they're like, they've got schoolwork. And they're looking for the right answer to the question, and it just makes my blood boil. I don't get upset about a lot of stuff, but when I see them like, well, what's the answer? I'm like, well, we got to think about this. We have to take some time. Well, I just want the answer so I can just finish with the paper and go on, keep on going down the street.
Man.
Like, no, this is not what it's designed to do. You have to think and figure it out.
Absolutely.
Hassan, why are we? Why? I'm just like, why do we have a book on? I mean, I don't. When you show me that book, I'm like, damn, we have to have books on this. Or are we just not taught this?
Some of the simplest things in life the fundamentals get lost. Somewhere they get lost. I don't know what influence takes over or what new shiny thing. A lot of people get attracted to shiny things or make money really quick. Like when you get, the reason we have books about the fundamentals is because the fundamentals are the fundamentals for a reason. And you need to be, I think Jim Rohn said, like, life is a reminding session, right? Like when your father says, hey, you need to do this, like you need those reminders, right? So like the fundamentals, you need to always be reminded about the fundamentals. And when you want to go to the next level, right? If you're a starting out entrepreneur, right? Or if you're trying to get your homework done, you need to master the fundamentals first. You need to master how to figure out 2 + 2 = 4, right? There's some fundamental, knowledge that you need to know. And a lot of people lose that because they got attracted to all these like bright lights and this cute girl and this like fundamentals first. Once you master the fundamentals, everything gets fun.
All right, man. What would your final thoughts for people who want to move on? Would that be it, or you have to drop anything else on them? People that I'm just like, you've seen so much at a young age, brother.
Yeah, I would say, whatever you believe right now. It could be whatever you believe in business, whatever you believe about your wife, whatever you believe about food, diet, training, religion, whatever it is. If you have archaic emotional attachments to a decision you never made logically, revisit them. I know that sounds weird, but if you guys want to have exponential growth in your life, like there's some things you're doing you probably shouldn't be doing, but you believe it to be true from whoever told you that. Maybe you made it up, right?
Wow.
Like for me, right? I grew up Muslim, right? I lived behind a church, right? There was a point in my life where I was like, dude, why am I Muslim, right? Or some people are like, dude, why do I not eat fish? I'm not saying meat. I love food, all meats, everything. Or like, why should I not leave the house and my hair's wet? Just some random things, right? Like if you have an emotional attachment to some things that you do every single day, figure out why and figure out the logic behind it. Because some people live their whole life living the wrong life, right? Wow. Start thinking more about this. Like I said earlier, like a lot of people spend time designing a vacation, spend time designing your life, right?
Spend time designing your life.
One of my mentors told me that, and I guess I could leave you with this, is like, if you were to die, right? If you were to die like tomorrow, would you be happy with what you're doing today, right? And he's like, hey, if you knew you were going to heaven for sure, like how would you be living, right? And I was like, man, I don't really know. And I restructured my whole day. And now like there's so many things I want to do, right? Whether it's marketing, whether it's like supporting a brand, whether it's like giving back. Like I figured out a way to do it every single day, small chunks, right? And if I was to die right now after this interview, I'd be okay with it.
Yeah.
Right? Like you should be living knowing that you're going to die. When you think about death constantly, things change, right? So if you're not thinking about death all the time, go visit some more funerals. Go read about what's happening outside. Like there's some crazy stuff going on, and hopefully that triggers something. If it doesn't, I think only God can help you at that point.
Kiyosaki calls doing the same stuff that when you get emotional about something that you don't want to do anymore, he calls it brainwashing. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
I've been brainwashed. I'm like, darn, I think about it too. Why do I do this? Why do I do this? Why do I get emotional when I don't do it? That's a good point, though.
Yeah.
You deep, man. You must have hung around your grandparents growing up. Not
really, actually. I hung out, like a lot of my mentors are dead, right? And I've loved conversation. I've loved books, like anything that I could, a lot of people say it's a waste of time, but like you learn a lot. And the thing is, it gets really fun when you apply it. So for those that are like, part of Chris's channel, like whatever he's teaching, and there's a bunch of value on the channel. There's a bunch. If you actually start taking action on it, things will change for you.
Yep. I appreciate that, Hassan. Round up. You have heard it from the man, intrapreneur. I think we should dive a lot deeper. I think our society should talk more about entrepreneurs, Hassan. I don't think they get enough light. And even Patrick said he wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah. And I will say, like, right now it's a great time. Like, there's a lot of essential businesses that are there. Like that you can still get hired if you guys aren't working, or like whether it's real estate or if you guys want to work for someone.
Yeah.
If you guys have the idea, like just go all in. Like there's so many, like I don't know how many people I've hired that never worked out. They never even like, they were just tippy toeing, man. Like the 1 foot, like when you really go in, you find out faster if it's going to be for you or not. Like go all in, all in. Then you'd be like, wow, this is really stupid, or wow, I think I can do something here, right?
I love it. I love it. All right, Roundup. That's all I got for you today. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Share this with any other entrepreneurs or intrapreneurs, people that are looking to grow an existing company. I think that's a great idea. I wish someone would say, Chris, I had this idea. You want to give it a try? I don't get it. Everybody I usually talk to, they're like, Chris, I need help in this. Can you help me with this? I need help to do this. How do you do this? I'm like, okay, we can do that. But I'm like, I'm waiting for the person to say, Chris, what do you think about trying this? We can make some money together.
Hey, give me some time, brother, and we got some. I think we're due for a part 2. I think 6 months to a year from now.
Yeah, we follow up with you. See how if you're flying or crashing.
Yeah, maybe both, but both good.
Okay, Roundup, like the content, and I will see you later. I'm gonna hopefully we'll don't forget we've got all the stuff on my channel on my website is half price for since the crisis has hit. Come on over and visit us on chrishaskins.com.
Absolutely. By the way, Chris, what do you got? What do you got on the website?
There's a bunch of real estate stuff. You don't want this stuff. I mean,
I'm always trying to learn.
Well, my thing is, I don't want people. My thing is, my community needs to stop thinking that buying a house is Mount Everest. That's where I live. I'm like, I got so many. I know people that do 100 a year. You know, I don't do that many.
Wow.
Buying a house shouldn't be that much. You're a millennial, so Hassan, before I let you go,
yeah,
are you interested in real estate at all? I mean, my thing, most young people I meet, they're like, man, shit, I'm just trying to.
One of my best friends owns a real estate company.
Okay.
Right. And he always tells me, he's like, man, Hassan, you would kill it. You would make a killing in real estate.
You would.
I've always been attracted to things that are like a challenge, right?
Mm-hmm. It's boring. Real estate's boring. I'll say that. It ain't. It's just 4 walls.
Yeah. So it didn't really like.
You sound like Patrick.
It's cool. I like it. Would it get my like? Would it get me like? Nah, I don't think so.
Patrick was the same way. He's like, I don't know. I want something I can. That real estate is hard to scale it, and you can't push you can't push the gas on it as fast as.
Yeah, there's a lot of my friends. They make money. They're day traders, right? They make a lot of money day trading, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how fun that would be for me. I think it's fun making money. It's very fun, right? But I think it's also very fun serving people.
Yeah.
It's a different.
The equity's in the people, man. That's what real equity is.
And when you see, like, when you see someone like flip their first house, right? Or when you see someone that was broke, that like, now they have a family now, like those stories. And I love that stuff. So I'd rather be in that space. If that means I make less money, and makes me more happy.
There you go. Okay, Roundup. Stay tuned. See you soon. Peace.
Thanks, guys.